Hello, friends. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day midweek. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, happy time zone wherever you are. And I hope the weather is treating you okay. It's a little bit cloudy and rainy-ish in the area of BC that I'm in. So spicy coming in hot on a Wednesday morning. My time, anyways. Emotes. Let's party. I hope your week is going well so far. And it's not too intense or too much. And hopefully, we kind of ride that into the end of the week and into the weekend. Um, you got a big snow. Oh no. You got snow overnight, Fountain Pen News. Oh, that's tough. I hope it wasn't too much to shovel and yeah, I did see though that there's some sort of wet, also wet snowy weather pattern hitting the East Coast. So glad I'm on the West Coast, but also it is wildfire season, or the beginning of wildfire season in BC, and also, along the West Coast. And something we have to deal with every year around this time, and that includes, different water bans in terms of watering your lawns and things like that. Trying to save as much water as possible, especially when we don't have a lot of rain in the forecast. So, there's always something. There's always something wherever you are. But, we should find the things that bring us joy, be aware of the things that are happening around us, and try and find that balance between those things. So stay safe, but also, let's have some fun today and let's chill and take it easy. Nothing too much. Spicy, you found the perfect picture to piss off people. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. If that was something you were looking for. Nobod, how's it going? And in Florida, we desperately need an early hurricane this year. Yeah, just so much stuff, isn't it? You hate the smug face? Oh no. Is it cat related? Oh, okay, it's not cat related. With you, Spicy, I always kind of assume it's something to do with a cat. It's probably because of those emotes. Too funny. Well, yeah, so I streamed on Monday and practiced some floral drawings, or drawing based on a reference photo of flowers, which was really fun. And today I'm going to do abstract floral art. So instead of basing it on reference photos of flowers, I like to kind of do this abstract art, or creative pieces. Get some painting done, get some drawing done, and like I said on Monday, and also what I'd say when I'm practicing drawing flowers based on reference photos, it's because it builds muscle memory over time, and every time you kind of practice, you build on that. And so when you do abstract work, or you just sit down and you just want to draw something, a lot of times you're basing it on muscle memory, and you're relying on your memory of what you've seen before, what you've seen in nature, what you've seen in real life. And you kind of draw from that. So even if you're doing abstract work, or you're doing imaginative creative work, a lot of times it's based on what you've seen and what you've practiced. So that's why I do the floral drawing practice, and I base my abstract work on that kind of stuff. So when you see the shapes of my petals and stuff like that, that's usually what I'm drawing from. So 100, yeah. Oh, spicy. So today, actually, I was thinking of using fountain pen inks because that's usually what I do on Wednesdays is I paint with fountain pen inks. But today I thought I would mix it up a little bit and use actual watercolor paints because though I have done it, I've used watercolor paints. I don't often do that on stream, and usually I just take out my fountain pen inks, right, and we kind of play around with samples and different inks that I have on hand. But I thought, it'd be kind of fun to break out some watercolor paints and play around with them. The other reason is I wanted to play around with these Tom Studio paints. They were gifted to me from Tom Studio, so this is a few more tools that are part of their artist series. And the reason why I wanted to kind of play around with that is because Tom Studio is having a site-side sale. I think it ends tomorrow, May 7th, so it's a very short sale. But if there was something you were eyeing, I would highly recommend take a look at their site because their stuff is not cheap, right? Like they're kind of investment pieces. And so I got a few things from the sale, which I've been it's been on my wish list for a little while. So I'll show you when I get it. But if you are interested, I wanted to share my affiliate link. I don't always push, my affiliate links and my codes and stuff like that. I don't like to be sold to all the time either. And also I don't like to enable people, especially if they're on a budget or they just don't want to, constantly buy stuff. And that's totally fine. But I did want to mention this because I think it's worth the sale if you did want something. And if you can save some money and also support artists like me, but also small shops and small brands out there in the stationery world, then I think it's kind of a win-win for everyone. So if you are interested, I will share my affiliate link. And if you're able to and want to, please consider using my affiliate link to purchase whatever you want. And even though my code won't stack on this sale, because I think it's 20% off on most items, and some things are even higher than that. So my code won't stack on top of it. But if you do use my affiliate link, I get a little commission. And I appreciate it. So I am going to show you a few things that I got from them that are part of this artist series. And I did a whole YouTube video on it. So if you're interested in just kind of seeing a curated version of, walking through their supplies, then take a look at my YouTube channel from Corolla. But otherwise, we could just kind of play around with their stationery tools and paints and other things. And we can hang out and paint some flowers today. So, you're sending a lot of links, Spicy. What is going on? What is this? Oh, yeah, I think, did Brad look at this on his stream? It kind of broke my brain a little bit, if I'm going to be honest, because I don't understand what I'm looking at. I don't get it. But very, very cool. It just makes me nervous that it's glass. And there's so many different aspects to it. And I feel like I would chip something and then it just wouldn't work. Glass nib you can ink up, yeah. It looks very cool. But someone else try it and then tell me because I would be really nervous to use it. I don't know what part of it. It's just the glass beads inside and the pen and putting it into its reservoir. I don't know. You'll try it, Spicy? Okay, try it. And then tell us, report back how, if it works, if it does actually run that smooth, if the ink actually works through to the tip very smoothly. That's when you get to practice your glass flame work skills. Yeah, I guess, right? Oh, too fun. Too much fun. until, you know, until you realize it's glass, and then it's like, oh, be careful. So the paint set that I'm using, I'll show you on the site too. Okay. You were thinking for something for shimmer inks. Yeah, maybe. It shouldn't be a problem with shimmer inks, I don't think. Okay, so this is the Tom Studio website. This is the artist series page, and from here they have 4 curated sets of watercolor paint. So depending on what kind of painting you like to do, so landscape, seascape, signature watercolor, so you know, a few of their main colors, and then Naturescape, which is the one I got because it's great for floral paintings, anything where you kind of need vibrant colors as well as, you know, your typical green and foliage type of shades. So I have that one. I also have this write-off artist palette, which is very cool. The design is based off of the color wheel. And I also have this write-off pen and brush rest. So that's cool. And then I have a set of their paint brushes, which are here, but they're the Funfetti set. So let's see, these ones, which is really, really fun. The cool thing about, if you're not familiar with Tom Studio, they're based in the UK. Tom is an inventor slash, you know, a maker of things, and started off with more calligraphy supplies because I think his wife is a calligrapher artist, and so he made tools that, you know, she could use, and so it kind of, you know, ballooned from there in terms of just the variety of supplies and variety of things. But the thing that draws me to Tom Studio as a brand is the focus on sustainability and being able to reuse things, refill things, and then also tools that are made from recycled materials. And so a lot of the materials such as the paintbrush handles, even the pen rest, they're made from recycled plastics. And I also kind of found it really interesting that some of the materials such as the, let's see, these little paint containers where the paint is, these are all poured in Tom Studio. But the containers are made from, I forget what it's called, but they're fishing nets that are found in the ocean. So I think it actually explains it in, here we go. Hand-filled in our Somerset studio, poured into recycled plastic pans made from ghost nets recovered from the Cornish coast. And so ghost nets are just, you know, fishing nets and things like that that are abandoned or, you know, are found in the water. And so they collect them all and then pour molds of these containers and pans and stuff like that. So I thought that was really, really interesting and really cool. Reading through, you know, the different materials that they make, you know, some of their supplies and tools from, and giving them new life and reusing them, and, you know, making use of them. So I thought that was very, very cool. Geez, Crafties, you've reached a 5-stream streak? What? Streaking through on a Wednesday. Hi, how's it going, Geez? RKO Pen, how's it going? Good morning. Queen of Washi, good morning. Fuzzy Turnout, I like their little sample with the little eyedropper at the top. Yes, yeah, I do too. They're such cute little eyedropper vials or whatever. It's very, very cool. I do own Tom Studio inks. I have 3 of them. Iris, which is a purple, Neptune, which is a dark teal, and Peaches and Cream, which is a very, very, not pale, but very soft peach pink, which is somewhat legible, but I prefer to paint with it. Okay, so if you're just joining now, we're gonna do I'm gonna paint with watercolor paints today, and I'm using Tom Studio paint set. So this is a curated watercolor set from them, and this specific set is the Naturescape collection. So I love the colors. I've already swatched them, so I know what kind of colors they are, and you know, the vibrancy and stuff like that. And then I did a watercolor piece already when I first got this set, just to try them out, and I wanted to see how, you know, vibrant and how mixable they were. It was really, really fun. So let's do it again. And if you are interested in their sale, I'm gonna pin my affiliate link. Really, there's like no pressure to use it or, you know, get anything from Tom Studio, but if you are interested, it's there. You're looking for sepia, but not a lot of them online. I don't know if I have a sepia. Okay, so I'm gonna paint in my watercolor sketchbook, and also in my Midori MD Traveler's Notebook insert, which is cream paper. So it, I'm really enjoying this. This is a nice change from my Tomoe River paper insert from Galen Leather, which I finished. So I had to kind of pick my next sketchbook or painting book. And I went with cream paper because I'm really liking MD cream. In the last little while, I've been using it a lot, and I found that inks look really nice on it. So we'll try it out with watercolor paints as well. But I'm finding that colors just tend to look warmer and a little bit more, I don't know, vibrant, but also just a little gentler on the eyes maybe. So we'll test it out. We'll see. So let me start on watercolor paper, and then we'll move on to my Midori insert. So everything I'm using is pretty much from Tom Studio, their artist series. Like I mentioned, they gifted this to me, so I did want to try them out and, you know, showcase how you can use them if you are interested. Their paintbrushes are really cool because you can take off the handles or the tops off the handles, and you can replace them, so, or switch them out, whatever you kind of want to do with them. But the reason is because after a while, you know, once you've used these paintbrushes for a while, you start to kind of feel or see that the tips can fray, or, you know, you get permanent color on them, or whatever the reason is. Instead of chucking the whole paintbrush, you can just get replaceable paintbrush heads, and I thought that was very cool. And they've clearly labeled too, you know, how you sort of align them. And I felt like maybe that would mean that they would feel sort of flimsy, or, you know, if you're using it, maybe it just comes off, but I didn't have that happen to me. So, you know, however they sort of create them or make them to really fit well, I'm kind of impressed. So different types of brushes as well. Personally, I tend to use the rounder brushes, especially for my kind of abstract painting style. But, you know, if you are the type of person that uses these sort of flat brushes that give you a nice sharp edge, they could be very useful as well. So. You got the cola inks, Spicy? How is it? I can't speak too much about Irriful because I have some sample papers, some loose sheets that are in my plotter. But it seems like I don't know if you can really compare Midori, like cream paper versus Irriful. So personally, I prefer Midori. But Irriful seems, you know, seems like a fountain pen friendly paper that if you are into maybe Cosmo Air Light or like a shiny type of paper, that's probably more your style. But I can't talk too much about it because I don't use it on a regular basis. Whereas Midori or MD paper, I use on a regular basis. And so, you know, I am going to kind of be a little biased in that way. All right, so I am going to use, let's see, maybe I use this one and this one. This one's like a more, or a detailed brush, which I don't think I really need. So let's use a couple of these paintbrushes. So I'll swatch the colors first, just so I have them here. Let's put some of that there. Nice and vibrant. I felt that right off the bat. It was just like, sometimes with watercolor paints, you have to activate them, especially if you don't use them often, with water, and just, you know, move around the pigment and just so you get like a nice shade of it. But I found with these paints right away, I was just like, whoa, they're nice and bright. Also like the shade of blue. It's a nice purple. Slides into the chat. You made it, Magical Quill. You're here. Awesome. Happy Wednesday. Those that were at the Chicago Pen Show, I hope you've recovered and that you've been able to go through your hauls. I've seen a lot more pictures, and I've seen a lot more different people's hauls and what they've acquired from the show. A lot of Skogsy, a lot of maker pens, which I was really happy to see, because, you know, so much color and different styles and very cool pens. A lot of ink too, which I'm not surprised, because the Chicago show inks, there were a few of them, so. It was very cool though to see what people are drawn to. I always like seeing people's hauls, because it's kind of like, you know, what are you drawn to when you go to a pen show? Because there's so many different things, right? Obviously there are pens, but you've got ink, you've got paper. I saw a lot of Canopus notes, so glad to see that Yamamoto paper was there, and also had, actually, was Yamamoto paper there, or was it a retailer who was carrying it? Because I'm not actually sure now, but either way, kind of cool that people were able to get these different notebooks that are kind of making their rounds in terms of things that you have to try and have fun with. So I'm just going from color to color and just adding them to the paper, just to kind of see their color and play around a little bit. It's a dark purple. I'm going to use this bigger paintbrush. Your nose isn't doing great. Oh, I see, from the cola ink. Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of scented inks. I don't know. Even if it was a nice scent, I'm just not the type of person who uses a fountain pen ink that has a scent attached to it. It's just, I don't know, it turns me off a little bit. It would be a little bit too much. All right, let's see. I'm gonna layer a little bit of paint, but I also don't want this to take too long to dry. So let's add a little bit of blue. Okay, now I'm going to move on to green. I'm going to do a little bit of the dark. A little bit of a lighter green. Okay. Okay. It's a lot of color. A lot of color mixing. Actually, I'm going to try. I'm going to put a little green in here as well. Let's do that. cool. All right, let's let that dry. Hopefully it won't take too long, but it is all good. Okay, so Midori, the MD or Midori cream paper handles inks pretty well. So I haven't had an issue with bleed through yet, even though I threw quite a bit of ink at it last week. So shimmer inks, sheeners, just to have fun with them. And even though you get that warping, which, you know, you would in any kind of regular paper, unless it's watercolor paper. But, you know, really happy to see that it didn't bleed through. Not that I would have minded, you know, if it was ghosting on this side. But it just kind of goes to show you, you know, the thickness of the paper as well as the coating and just, you know, the formulation of it to handle inks works really well. So, you know, if you wanted to play around with painting or swatching, right, and putting a little bit more of a concentration of inks on this type of paper, it's really good at handling it. So, but I'll try watercolor paints as well, because with paints you have to add water to really activate them, and so that tends to up the amount of water you're putting on this type of paper. So a lot of times you'll kind of see, you know, the warping and the water pool kind of affect the paper that way. But it's okay. We're just gonna explore and have fun with it and see how it goes. So same deal. I am going to swatch the colors just so I have that. And then I can kind of play around with mixing the colors if I want to. I tend not to add too much water if I'm painting on a fountain pen friendly paper, just knowing that it doesn't behave the same way as watercolor paper does. So mindful of that when I put paint down. So those are the colors. I'm just going to start with blue this time. So this might look a little bit different than my other piece, which is nice. some of this magenta plum color. It's very nice. I think it's pretty. This bright red. Oh, too much of it. Hi Jack Toy, how's it going? Happy Wednesday. I hope your week is going well. Just painting with some watercolor paints from Tom Studio and just kind of exploring the different colors that I have in this palette. I'm kind of using the the tray that comes, that's part of this container. I've seen these before and, you know, different sets that come with it and stuff. I find that it's very handy to use the container. But I also have this palette that I can play around with. It's a lot of mixing that you can do with these colors, or layering too. I don't spend a lot of time mixing colors. I'm more of a fan of just kind of layering color on top of color. I do a little bit of mixing, but I think I'm more of a blender. I like to blend colors, just because I find it like really interesting to kind of layer a color on top of another and then see what it does. Even with fountain pendings, I do the same thing. Instead of blending colors or mixing colors to get, you know, different shades that I want, I kind of like just like blending wet on wet. So while my other color is wet, I just add another color to it. I like to watch them sort of, you know, the second color feather into the first color. And as it spreads, it starts mixing, and it's just like, yeah, it's very mesmerizing to me to watch something like that, and see how the colors kind of play together. I think I'm going to layer this magenta color on top of some of the blue. And then maybe a little bit of the red as well. They are pretty colors. Something about watercolor paints, you know, you get like vibrant, especially when they're artist grade or, you know, higher quality ones, where they go down very vibrant and bright, cheery. There's just something really, really fun about that. I'm gonna move on to green. So I have this dark green here. I can kind of add here. All right, so let's move that there. I can feel the paper buckling under my painting, so it's definitely gonna but still handles it well enough. And the colors are so bright. Even you know, when you're layering colors on top of them, taking a little vibrancy off, but it's still fun. I'm gonna let this dry. It might take a little bit, but with watercolor paper, this is pretty much dry. Yeah. So. Oh man, fountain pen use. Yeah, that sucks. I hope it gets better. It takes a long time to heal. Ugh. That's too bad. Sorry you have to deal with that. Yeah, they are vibrant, aren't they? Very cool. A little bit of a difference from some of the fountain pen inks too that I've been using. Not that it matters, but it's just an observation. as we move into warmer weather. Some brighter colors are nice. Okay, it is dry. It feels a little damp in some sections, but that's okay. All right, I'm just gonna. So on top of this paint, I am going to draw some details. So it looks a little bit more floral-like. And I'm going to use the Tom Studio Wren. I don't use this pen often enough, and I feel like I should because it's just so handy to have, and it's a pocket pen, right? But it has a Japanese writing tip, and so it's similar to a fine liner tip, but it's one size, and it's meant to be durable, last for a long time, great for sketching and drawing, etc. But it's kind of cool because the size of this pen is literally like very small. It could fit into your pocket, but you put the cap on the back, and it has these silicone threads or rings that hold the cap into place. So right away it's like using a pocket pen, right? That you can post the cap. And it's refillable, so I actually use the black ink that is included when you get one of like a Wren or a Lumos, one of their writing pens. And so I don't know if you've never seen this before, I'm just going to quickly show you. So if you unthread the body, you have these writing reservoirs, or what are these called? Felt. No, I'm blanking. I'm just going to look this up. Ink reservoirs. They're called ink reservoirs, but they're like they absorb ink. So this is the Wren refillable reservoir. Yeah. So you when you soak this in your ink bottle or a vial of ink or whatever, it absorbs that ink into this reservoir, and it lasts for a while depending on how much writing or drawing or however often you use the Wren or the tool. It actually lasts for quite a bit, which is really, really cool. But once you've used, or once it's sort of used that ink, you just dip it back into whatever ink you're using, and refill it that way. And if you want to change out your ink color, then you just put it under running water, and so it just kind of flushes out your color, and then you can reuse the reservoir with another color or another ink, or whatever you kind of want to do. So but I use the black ink that comes with it because it's a very nice solid standard kind of black color. So hi friend. Hi Pop Alcal. I was reading your comment. Hi friends, happy Wednesday. Gee, how's it going? You're back from Chicago. How was your experience? I've been waiting to hear more. Hi, Bia Potato. Those pages look amazing. Thank you. When my kids were tiny, my mom made Easter dresses with a floral pattern in that palette. Over 30 years ago, but it brings a smile to your face. That's awesome. I love that you shared that. Such a bright color palette, too. Those colors look like a pen I bought at the show. It's from Papa J. Ooh. These are the colors then. These are the colors of the season. The field mouse is tiny, but so cool too. Yeah, NM newbie. Need small hands. I use my field mouse. I have it attached to my TN cover. So this is my Passport TN, the Love and Trip cover. So it's like a reddish brown. And I have a field mouse that I have attached. And yeah, it's more so like really handy to have if, you know, you're like, where's my pen or whatever, and you kind of want to use it. And it's the same writing tip as the Wren, by the way. So they are interchangeable. And it has, yeah, it's like such a cute, tiny little thing, but it is also refillable with fountain pen ink. So you can do that. But I feel like for me, it's kind of like an emotional support pen too, just so I feel like I have a pen with me at all times, you know, for journaling or note taking or whatever. And then what else do I have? I use you've probably seen me talk about this, the Lumos Mini. And for these tips, they are like fine liner tips. And so they come in different sizes that you can interchange. I think this one is an 03. And again, refillable with fountain pen ink. So I have a blue ink, a Sailor Shikiri Yonaga, I think, which is like a navy blue color. And it fits perfectly in the pen loop for a plotter. Just FYI, in the Mini 5, because it's always hard to find a pen that fits in there. So I found the Kaweco Lilliput fits in there perfectly, as does the Lumos Mini. And then there's also the Lumos Pro Duo. And this is really cool because it's basically like two minis put together, and you can have two different tips or two colors. In my case, I have a 0.5 in on both sides. So you kind of unscrew this. It's very, it's very user friendly in the way that you just like unscrew things, screw them back in, you know. But on one side I have a teal ink. Oh, it's the Tom Studio Neptune, so it's like a turquoise or dark teal. And then on the other side I have a 0.5 tip, but it is just their black ink. So I have a teal and black, which I feel like are a good pairing for the kind of like note taking and stuff that I do. But you could do different tip sizes too. There's a brush tip, there's a chisel tip, and different fine liner sizes. So it was amazing. Oh, awesome. I'm so glad. That makes me feel good. Yeah, April, you love emotional support stationery. Isn't it the best? It's so good. Especially with like small, like small rings or small TNs or notebooks that you can kind of carry around with stationery and tools that are your kind of emotional support. Like I have them on me. I don't need to use them. They're just there in case I need to write something down, or I feel like I want to journal about something or draw something or, whatever, capture something in the moment. You kind of have to have the tools for it. And the smaller they are, the more portable they are, the better I feel about carrying them around. And they're incognito, right? Like sometimes I've gone to like cafes or something like that, and I don't feel like bringing an A5 size journal or something to write in because, I feel self-conscious about people looking over and like, what is she doing? But then I don't feel so bad if I pull out a TN Passport or a Mini 5 and just kind of like write little little notes and stuff like that. So some of those small pens would work well with a new card size TN, right? Definitely. Definitely. I think anything that fits into the Plotter Mini 5 would work well for the TN card size. Do you have one of the TN card size covers? I think I asked that in my last stream too, because I did not get one. Mostly because I have a Plotter Mini 5 and I don't want to tempt myself by getting a TN card size and then trying to decide between the two. I'm just going to stick with my Mini 5 and enjoy it some more. But let me tell you, I was tempted by the TN card size, especially because it's the 20th anniversary and I have the 10th anniversary cute little TN. But I don't need it for the sake of collecting it. So I was like, if I'm gonna get it, I'll have to use it or find some sort of use for it at some point. But I just love my Mini 5 so much that I don't want to tempt myself, to try and use the TN for something else or to replace it. And yeah, so. But I have been really enjoying people's unboxing and setup videos and photos to see how, people are going to use their really cute card size TN, which could also double up as an emotional support TN, by the way. Okay, let's read the Chicago Pen Show recap. It was amazing. Other than the kerfuffle of the timing of the show, everything else was great. I definitely made purchases. Did you ever? It was a busy show, not as overwhelming as SF, but there were definitely times I took breaks. Yeah, it's always wonderful to spend time with friends. Of course, and meet new ones as well. Well, I'm glad that it wasn't as overwhelming as SF. I think Chicago, the scale of Chicago, even if it gets more popular, right? It's going to attract more people. But at the same time, I think, as they kind of grow, they can also hopefully adjust to that size. But yeah, it's really good it's good to hear that you had a good time, that you bought some things. We already know there's a Papa J pen in there. And I'm sure, you did a lot of browsing as well, which is really, really cool. I saw post from Atlas as well. It looked like they had a huge sort of footprint at the show as well, and made the show fun in their way as well, in their contribution. So that's good. You got a card size, April? Really like it? Yeah. Yeah, if you had a Plotter Mini 5, I think if Traveler's Company had released the card size TN last year, I would have 100% gotten one. It wasn't until late December, when I got the Plotter Mini 5, and it was gifted to me. So I felt like I needed to try it out. I don't think I would have bought it on my own. Not anytime soon anyway, maybe later. But since I got it, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try it out. But before I got the Mini 5, I was looking for a solution for, a wallet / EDC where I could have, a notebook in there to take notes or write things down as they kind of come to my head, pop them in there. And then also if I'm traveling, to have something with me where I can have a couple of cards in there, right? Like literally describing what the TN card size cover would be perfect for. But that was last year. And then I got the Plotter Mini 5 and I've traveled with it, and it is perfect for that, and for having it as an EDC, so I can throw it in my purse, go out, whatever. And the rings aspect of it makes it so flexible, right? I can take papers, I can, add papers in that I need, whether it's like weekly inserts or schedules or just note papers to take notes. And then I can take them out as I need to. So if I'm comparing the Plotter Mini 5 to a traveler's notebook card size, I'm just kind of like, where's the flexibility? Probably with the plotter. So yeah, I don't know. Definitely, if I didn't have the Plotter Mini 5, I would have done what you did, April, and gotten the TN cover card size and been like, yes, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. But because I have the Mini 5 to compare to, I'm just like, I don't think I need two options of that size for the purpose that I would use it for. So, so cute though. Oh, the other thing about the TN 20th anniversary is maybe if there was a different color, then they would have gotten me. But with the brown and the black, which are great, they're cool, nice, standard, I'm like, I have the passport in the Love and Trip, which is like that red brown, which is such an amazing color. If in the future, I don't think Traveler's Company is going to do a card size lineup, but something to ponder. If they had different color options, would you be more tempted if you didn't get one of theirs? Or if they did have a different color, would you go with a different color versus the brown and the black that was released? I mean, I think I would have. Just based on color. I don't know. Maybe. Apple Tater, you just bought an A7 size fancy vegan leather cover that took forever to... Okay, so you had to wait for it from Spain. Nice. You found that you had no use case for it when they announced the card size TN. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, gee, you made sure to give Bart a tough time for you. Thank you. Did you troll him? Because that's exactly what I would do. You got a fountain pen used, but you're not sure what to do with it. Hey, Bailey, how's it going, friend? You're glad you got here in time? Yeah. Yeah. Did you bug Luke about making you a custom pen? Ooh, your birthday pens. All right. Let us see. Wait. Okay, here we go. Ooh, I love that pen roll. Stop roll. What is it called? Roll stop. There, I got there. I got there in the end. Oh, that's so pretty. I love the purple in there. And it's shiny. Like it looks like a galaxy or something. Oh, that's so pretty. Pretty and shiny. Really good. Really great choices there, Bailey. That black and purple, I don't know, I would be very, very tempted by that. They're both beautiful, but that black and purple is such a nice combination. Yay, very nice. And happy belated birthday. That's responsible. No need for two tiny notebooks. Yeah. Or do we need two tiny notebooks? This reminds me of how you didn't buy the second Kintsugi pen. Yes, yeah. We talked about that. ID influenced you on that one? You're welcome. Yeah, I know. We kind of talked about it, right? And even though blue is like such a nice color, I'm drawn to anything blue. Having that first Kintsugi, in my mind, I don't think anything could top that. So if they had never made the first one, or I hadn't gotten it, or something like that, then definitely the blue one would have been something I would pick up. But, once you have the first, and you're like, everything else you'll compare to that one. For me, anyways. Who knows? Here's one of your biggest pen purchases, Papa Gal. Let's see. I love that you're sharing these. Ooh, oh, that's so cute. Cats might look for bluebirds sometimes. Oh, that little bluebird. That's really pretty. That whole pen, the color, like the color scheme with the pop of blue is really, really pretty. That is so nice. The purple roll stop is Papa J. Yeah, okay. I felt like the flower on the roll stop was like classic. Classic Papa J. The one on the right is from Bone Crusher Studios. Okay, interesting. My husband collaborated with them to make a nebula pen for me. Nebula, that's what it actually looked like, the nebula. It has that like galaxy, cosmic feel to it. So that's awesome. I'm so happy for both of you. That's awesome. They named the resin. Oh, it must be a space name. Okay. I was like, what is that? Yeah, bluebirds and cats. Oh, so cute. You can't use urushi. Are you allergic to urushi? I said the cat adopted me. So cute. I'm glad I didn't stop by their table. That would have made me sad. Yeah. Now you can show it off and enjoy it. We're happy for you. Welcome. Congrats on the cat adopting you. Did I tell you guys that I ordered the Chinese exclusive Twisty Eco Sakura? Oh no! Did you get it yet, or you ordered it and it's coming? That's what I'm assuming. You have a pretty bad wood allergy. Oh no! That can't be good. Yeah, your husband did do a great. Yeah, I agree. Your husband did a great job. Even opening the Monarcha box with the wood stand. Wow. Do you get hives or like a skin reaction right away? That's scary. Twisby, okay. Fountain pen news. It's okay. You're dealing with things. It's all good. You're waiting? Okay. Awesome. Let us know when you get it. I know you'll share more about it too when you get it. So looking forward to it. Very nice. I like the colors. It's very pretty. So that's that. Let's throw it here. And then we have, let me just check it's dry. Yeah. On Midori cream paper. So it's great. Does give the paper that crinkly sound. which if you're into it, it's a very nice sound. This. Very cool. Let's use my Hahnemühle pigment, black pigment ink. And the Hahnemühle stainless steel nib. My usual go-to. Your hands swell up and turn red. Oh no. They start itching, yeah, and burning. Oh, that's not fun at all. You got hit with crazy tariffs from Hachimanjia. Yeah. International orders, especially when you can't prepay for them, so you don't know what to expect. And they can be really high too, so that's not a good surprise. Surprise, you owe hundreds more. You know, but even if it's like, whatever, $50 or something, it's like, oh, that adds to an already expensive order. Except cult pens. What you get. Oh, cult pens had, was it the mystery box or something like that recently? I think that sold out pretty quick from what I saw. Not that I was tempted to get it. I don't do mystery boxes because, yeah, unless I know at least a few things that are in there that to me, I'm like, yes, that's worth paying for the whole box. You know, especially when it's expensive. Unless I know that, I don't know. I'm not a risk taker in that way. You know, I'll do like a sticker mystery, you know, like a quarterly sub or whatever, where it's kind of like, you don't really know what you're going to get all the time. But that's fine. You know, they're stickers. But I can't do it with like, you know, a big box of pens and inks and stuff. I am pretty picky. And also I have an adverse reaction to risks that I take that don't pan out, in my opinion. And so, you know, if I were to do it, I would probably just do it one time and kind of chalk it up to just like, yeah, it's just a fun thing. No expectations. But that's just me. You don't do gambling. You don't take risks on these types of things either, Spicy. Especially when it's expensive. Yeah. Especially when it's expensive and you have to deal with costs on top of that, shipping costs and stuff like that. So, painting or using a dip nib and pigment ink on top of watercolor paints is a little bit different than using it on top of fountain pen ink. Just because as soon as the pigment hits where paint already sits, it behaves a little bit differently. So you can kind of see where it starts to feather out because it's just kind of sitting on top of the paint and it just starts to spread. And so it doesn't have anywhere to grip or to kind of stick on. And then as soon as it hits part of the paper where there's no paint, all of a sudden, you have that thin line again. So it's interesting in that way, and I'm just kind of playing around, so I don't really care what it looks like in terms of line width and variation and stuff. But it is something, it is something to keep in mind. Good thing this is just my art sketchbook, so it's not a big deal. It's meant to kind of explore and have fun and discover things, so. But if you do want to draw on top of watercolor paint, I tend to use a fine liner or a drawing pen, something like that, because then you can get this look and it doesn't take away from the paint that's there, right? Because you want that part to shine. You want that part to stand out and be the focal point of your piece. But it's kind of fun to try different tools too, isn't it? So. Yeah, so you can kind of see the different, I keep putting it on top of here. I'm just going to close this up and we're going to move on. There we go. You can kind of see the difference here. All right, if you use a fine liner or a writing or drawing pen, you can add a lot more details and still, not take away from the paint that you have on there. But as soon as you, use a pigment ink or a fountain pen ink or something like that, where it doesn't have anywhere to be absorbed because you're using it on top of a paint, it just kind of sits there and then it starts spreading and it's very uncontrollable in that way. So, none of these lines are meant to be that thick. And then you can see the contrast between drawing on top of the paper versus on top of the paint. Very interesting and kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know if I would call it gambling. I would just say, it's a risk that you're taking when you're getting something like a mystery box or where it's just, or if it's like a, subscription box or something like that. It's not necessarily gambling. It's more so like, you're taking the risk of not liking everything that's in there. And for the most part, usually they, you at least have an idea of what it is. Like with some subscription things, there's a theme or there's teasers, especially in the stationery community. You tend to get a little bit of an idea of what's in it. But then, others, like, I don't know, but Atlas, they do one. I don't know if they share at least like one or two things that are in there. Maybe not. Maybe it's all just a mystery. And then it's called a mystery box for that reason. But those kinds of things, I'm just like, if I don't know anything that's in there, it's a risk that I'm just like, I don't know. I'm very picky about the type of things I use. So anyway. Oh, Bailey, I did find a sticker at Pen Realm of yours. Oh, you did. That's awesome. Did you say hi to Kirk for me? I'm just kidding. I gotcha, yeah. That's cool. Atlas usually does. Oh, okay. But I'm not sure if they're far from Chicago Pen Show mystery boxes. Interesting. Yeah. Sounds to me like it'll just be a drop on the website and you take a chance. Yeah, I mean, and the thing about, mystery boxes is too, if you don't like the things in there, hey, you can always give it a second home, right? You can resell or gift or, offer to trade with someone. Like, there are ways, if you don't like something, to offload it. But I know I personally wouldn't want to, have to go through trying to find someone who would want it. But also I would feel bad if I just kind of like collected these things and let them sit, and then I only ended up using like one thing out of a box. So knowing me, I would just be like, meh, I don't want to do it. Kirk was so busy grinding. Yeah, I bet. He was being pretty goofy on Thursday night. Yeah, it's the after hours or pen show after dark or whatever. That's when the personalities come out, right? Like, especially with people like Kirk who are super, super busy during show hours because they're trying to get those grinds done or whatever it is. But you got to catch them when they're just hanging out. And that's why I love the hangouts after pen show hours. Which I don't know what the Chicago scene is like for that. Like, do they have a lounge area, like a common lounge area or something where you can hang out? Pop Out Gal, is it similar to SF in that way? I don't know. But yeah, if there is, then that's really cool. Because then you can just kind of like get to know people outside of the things that they do at the pen show. And they wouldn't be as busy and swamped and just, it's hard to socialize or, have a conversation with people, especially vendors and, people who are focused on getting things done at the show. But then after hours or outside of pen show hours is kind of like the place to get to know people, connect, do some swatching or try out different pens, try out nibs and inks, and kind of do, sharing of information, sharing of what you enjoy, what other people enjoy, and stuff like that. Finding common ground as well. Getting through Wednesday with some tea, cats in the stream. You know what, RKO Pen? That sounds kind of cozy. Yeah, you won't criticize people for buying mystery boxes, whatever makes them happy. Yeah, you won't be spending money on them. Yeah, Spicy, I'm kind of there too. Like, hey, to each their own. But I think we know, each, like, yourself better than anyone else. So it's either something you're willing to take a risk on, or, maybe you're super casual about it and you're like, hey, it is a good way of trying out new things too, right? It kind of forces you to try out something that you may not have gotten otherwise. And for that reason, I will definitely say that's one of the pluses of getting a mystery box, or like, or even with, like, I've seen it with ink samples, right? Where there's like little goodie bags or whatever of different ink samples, and you don't know until you open it up and see. And that's another way of trying out different things that you normally may not have been drawn to, or you would have been like, I probably won't like this, and then walk away. But this is a way to try it out, and maybe you find your next, your next favorite color or favorite pen or ink or something like that. And that would make it worth it for you, I guess. The hotel has a lounge and bar area. Okay, that's good. So it's convenient in that way, that it's like, it's not far away from the show. So, people are more likely to hang out there too. Next year it's supposed to be at the Westin. Ooh, nice. That's awesome. You should go. It's a wild rabbit hole. Yeah. You'll wait for Bailey to try them. Yeah. Yeah, you can ask Bailey what she's trying out so far. Bailey, were you here when Spicy Miso told us about the cola ink, the scented ink? Are you into scented inks? Because I personally am not really, but I get the allure of them. They're interesting, you know, just like you would try pigment ink or iron gall or whatever, like different types of inks and formulations and stuff like that. But it is also a risk when you're getting something based on the fact that it's scented. Though the color of it is nice. So at least you have that. If the smell is not, you know, the best. You like the smoky tobacco for diamine only because it reminds me of... Oh, okay, that is interesting. Yeah. Because that smell is it's a very strong memory. You know, like when you smell something and all of a sudden it takes you back to a time where it's connected to a memory or something. It's like a nostalgic thing, right? Yeah, sometimes I'll smell something random and it's just like a memory pops up where it reminds me of something or someone or a time when I did something. So I can definitely see that. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah. Chances are, if Bailey likes an ink, yeah, you probably will too. I feel like that about anytime Lisa, all of Octopus, says like, "Oh, this is a really nice shade of something." I'm always like, "Yes, you know what? Actually, it's definitely along the lines of what I would like for the most part." Diamond got the tobacco burst or desert burst, which are cool. Yeah, Diamine has been playing with scented inks, right? Like usually in the ink vent, they have one or two or however many. And then they kind of play around with that. I'm trying to think, does any other brand do scented inks? At least on purpose? I'm not talking about like, you know, the ones where you're like, this is an off smell. Or like a musty, you know, has been sitting around for a while smell. Not that. That's also not good. You feel like you're playing Pokemon Go lately? You need to stop collecting inks and just use them. Yes. Yeah, definitely. And now you have some new pens, right? Have you already decided what you're going to ink up your new pens with? Or are you looking for the perfect ink for them? Tono and Limbs has a scented ink line. Oh, really? Interesting. Have you tried any of them, Archeo Pen? No, I don't want off smell. Ostrich Cafe Mocha ink. That smells like, oh, that is gross. Yeah, definitely not. Not that. Though, if something does smell like legit, like brewed coffee or, you know, a cup of tea or something like that, maybe, potentially, that could be something I'd be into. But not something that's, I don't know. It's just something about scented anything, it's artificial, right? And even though it can sort of invoke that memory of something, it has to be pretty on point to be a good smell and not smell like an artificial version of it. And I think that's where it kind of gets me. Like if it's like scented like flowers, it doesn't actually smell like natural flowers, right? It smells like a version of, like an artificial version of a flower. And that I don't like because it just doesn't smell natural. And right away it's something that's like a sticky point where it's like, oh, why does it smell so strongly like, an artificial rose or something? But if they could capture, like if I smelled an ink that I thought I had like a freshly brewed cup of coffee beside me, and that's what the smell was, then, I mean, not going to say no. You don't know what to ink your pens with yet? You're indecisive. Yeah. I feel like I'm kind of like that as well. And then sometimes it works, but sometimes I put some thought to the ink for the pen, and then as soon as I ink up the pen, I'm like, yeah, that was a mistake. I should have gone with the other one. But it's good to have options, right? Flight of the Bumblebee smells like vanilla cola. Okay. Let me take a look at this. There was a time when vanilla Coke was like the best thing ever. Okay. Oh, that's a nice color too. I'm just looking at... honey colored fountain pen ink with black shimmer, honey soda scent. That is actually kind of cool. Oh, I see that, yeah. Huh. I like that. I got excited to do Kiwi Nebula Space Kitty, but it doesn't match. And you're a very matchy person? Okay. You're like, no, it has to be exactly. Hey, if it's like, especially when it's your first time inking up the pen, it's like, it has to be a certain way. I get that. What about this? The bookworm ink. Ooh, a dark green. You have a big bottle of it. Yeah. Speaking of kiwi, I saw something I shouldn't have. You were so addicted to vanilla Coke back in the day. Yeah, Inky. Same. So, yeah, it was dangerous. I just kept getting cravings for it, which is like, ugh. Oh, you thought it was, you didn't realize it was scented. You thought it was something wrong. Yeah, you're like, why am I smelling? What's happening right now? Yeah. Fruit pizza. Like kiwi on pizza? I'm so confused. You need it. Your pens need to have browns in them. Is that a thing? Do all your pens need to have brown in them? Don't tell fountain pen use that. Wendy Soup, like, no brown. Is there any color that your pens, like, you'd prefer not to have in your pens? Not ink-wise, I mean, like, the body of the pen. If it had this color, you're just like, nah. Because we know it's brown for fountain pen use, but... Hi, Indy, how's it going? Yes, I just finished drawing on top of these flowers. And these are watercolor paints from Tom's Studio. So I was using one of their sets called Naturescape. So these specific colors are part of that set, which is actually kind of great for florals and if you are wanting to capture kind of your, like a nature-esque type of scene. So yeah, I like how bright and vibrant they are. Yeah. That's all I have to say about that. It's super fun and cheery and vibrant. I love that. And even if, even with the drawing on top with black ink, you can still see, how the inks blend, how the paints blended and mixed a little bit together with all the layering. Yeah, that's awesome. You can stop yourself from buying this. What is this? Oh, Coke. Is this just regular Coke? Yeah, awesome colors. I have to look for them. Yeah. Who makes them? Tom Studio. Oh, yeah. They fill them in-house. So their paints are poured in-house. And so the reason why, if you missed the beginning of the stream, the reason why I decided to take out my Tom Studio paints is these were gifted to me. They are part of the artist series that Tom and Tom Studio recently released. I think it was last month, a month ago probably. So anyways, I tested them, I tried them out, really loved them. And they also sent paintbrushes. These are really cool because you can take the paintbrush head off. So if anything happened to it, you used it a lot and it starts getting frayed or whatever, if you need to replace them, you don't need to, toss the whole paintbrush. You can keep the handle and you just buy replacement paintbrush heads. But they're also, Tom Studio's doing a side sale. So if you have looked at Tom Studio stuff, they can be a little pricey. So anytime there's a sale, I always look at my wish list and I may have gotten a few things, which I'll show you once they come in. But they have a sale going on now, and I'll share my affiliate link. Don't feel pressured to use it, but if you do, it does support me. So, and I really appreciate it. So if you take a look at some of the stuff on their site, it'll kind of, so it's until May 7th, which is tomorrow. But you can kind of look through and see if there's anything that you've been eyeing that, maybe you can save a few dollars, and it makes it a little bit more affordable for people. So this paint set is part of their artist series collection. So there's paintbrushes, paint sets, as well as individual paint pans, and accessories. And so this is the one that I have, Naturescape. But they also have a signature watercolor. They have Seascape and Landscape, which I like the Seascape one. No surprise, those are, colors I would use that are earthy and like water-esque, right? Like it reminds you of the beach or something like that, and like totally up my alley. So Something like that would be fun. Some of these colors are really, really pretty. Cobalt green. Ah, so nice. Cerulean blue. Yeah, anyways. So take a look if you're interested. If not, that's totally fine. But you know, once in a while when a brand does a sale, I'm always like, yeah, I'll take a look. Especially because Tom Studio is one of those brands that puts a lot of value on sustainability, being, you know, eco-friendly and environmentally conscious, using recyclable materials or recycled materials, and also trying to make tools that last longer, because either they're, you know, reusable, refillable, or just are good quality so that they last for longer than, you know, something that you just kind of toss after a little bit of time and a little bit of use. So yeah, those are Tom Studio. I had no idea they did watercolor. I know. This is like, I think this was a month ago that they released this artist line of like artist grade paints and stuff like that, and paintbrushes and stuff. And they also have, after their release of the paints, they had a collaboration with Winsor Newton for paintbrushes. So there were like different sizes of paintbrushes and styles of them that you could get that look really cool. But, you know, budget wise, I'm good with like, you know, a set of paintbrushes, especially if I can get a variety of different sizes and styles. But yeah, paints are kind of like inks where you're like, oh, I could get a few more and mix them and match them. But I feel like this set is a pretty good, it's a pretty, like you can get a variety of colors if you like to mix colors, and sort of, you know, use this for like, yeah, I think it does, it lends well for like, you know, if you like to paint in nature stuff, or scenery and stuff like that. But yeah, the colors are really, really bright and vibrant. That blue is really nice. Even though it's not as like, it's not as bright or saturated as, you know, typical or other blues that you can get. I like that shade of blue. It's really, really nice. Yeah, they're awesome. So that's very cool. And I also, these are a couple of accessories that they sent. This is a pen rest, but you can use it with your brushes. So, you know, I usually just like put them on my desk and then they roll around, but it's kind of nice to have, like, I didn't really think of having a pen rest for my paintbrushes as I'm using them. I just kind of, you know, just put them down. But of course that makes sense. And then this is a palette that is inspired by the color wheel. So you have, you know, different size of space where you can kind of mix colors or blend colors, whatever. And it's very lightweight, but doesn't move around much. Like, it's very sturdy as well. So it's all like really well thought out stuff. Like, I don't really need to harp on like how well and like quality wise, you know, Tom Studio is just one of those brands that like he thinks about making something useful, but also you know, last for as long as possible and user friendly, right? Like I've paid a lot for some tools where you're kind of like, you're missing that aspect of me being able to use this and have it be comfortable or have it be useful in, like, you know, me putting it down and it doesn't dry out right away or something like that. It's just those little, you know, when someone understands how an artist will use the materials. So that's kind of cool. I also like this container, and it's like one of those containers that you can get like with other watercolor paint sets and stuff, but I just find it so, I like that they went with this style of container as well. and it has space for more paint pans if I get them. So very portable and useful. I should use them more often. I used this ink for a while. This one is scented. Okay, I can see lilac, so I'm gonna assume it's a floral scent. Did it smell good? Did it smell strong? Yeah, lilac. How do those people who have tried scented inks and fountain pens, how do they behave in fountain pens? Like, is it similar to, does it have any effect on being able to use smoothly, or the flow is, you know, like a standard ink? Does it affect it? I don't know. The diamond ones feather like crazy. Oh, really? It feathers a lot? Really interesting. Now I'm even more turned off of scented inks. No, that's interesting. Yeah. I would assume that something that's formulated to also smell good, or smell, you know, a certain smell specifically, like something else, that would have an effect on how the ink might perform. Diatramentus makes great ink. Yeah. Was that scented ink a document ink, like archival? Let's see. Suitable for fountain pens. Are all Diatramentus inks archival? Now I'm going down a tangent. And then how long does a scent last on paper after you've used it? I've only had some scented inks from the Diamine ink vents. You're not a fan. Yeah. Especially if it doesn't behave like a standard ink, right? It's just another layer of like having to think about whether or not, or what pen to put it in, whether or not you want to use it in a certain pen. I didn't have issues with the Tonal and Limbs Bumblebee ink. Okay, so Tonal and Limbs it is, I think. I also like the description of vanilla soda. I think if I were to try a scented ink, that would probably be like that type of ink, I think would be one of those, the ones that I would try, like that scent. In a brand that I know, you know, probably doesn't have issues with it. Conversely, KWZ honey smells nice and writes well. Okay, interesting. I'm gonna re-ink and do a longer review. Do it! Yes, I'd love to see that. Pretty sure Diatramentus are handmade. Yeah, I think that's what it said in the description. And KWZ too, right? Is like made in-house, I think. Foggy green also smells nice and writes well. Huh, interesting. So KWZ and... Okay, that's interesting. So Diamine may not be the one for scented inks, is what I'm getting. Yeah, I think so too. Maybe, let's see. I do have a sample of KWZ something. Was it honey? I don't remember now. I'll have to take a look. Okay, let's share this. I'm just reading the Well-Appointed Desk write up on KWZ honey. Yeah. So there's a new and original formula. The reason the formula was altered stemmed from the distinct smell in the original formula of honey. From the preservative used to keep the ink from molding or getting funky. Interesting, yeah. Huh. Okay. Foggy green smells nice and writes well as well. Okay. Blesket carries KWZ. Oh, do they? Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't realize. Because I think someone sent me or shared a sample because they like ended up having a bottle of it or something. But I didn't realize you could get it up here. Ooh, you can. Thank you. Interesting. Okay. You found lilac to be very gentle? You have to look for the smell. Okay, I see. I see what you mean. Yeah. So it's not like super lilac-y. Although lilac is it similar to lavender? In that it's like one of those relaxing smells? Oh, thanks, Archaeopen. I think I'm okay for now, but I'll keep that in mind. That's really nice of you to offer. Yeah, the smell of lilac actually is like, it's meant to be a little softer, right? A little gentler. Like a scent that's like relaxing, not as aggressive as maybe a rose smell, or something like that. I don't know. Scented inks. Now, yeah, I'm intrigued. So we'll see. No problem. I think Brad mentioned, or on his status update, that he'll be streaming an hour from now, or an hour later than he usually streams, I guess. So I don't know if it's a shipping stream or not, but I'm probably not going to stream for another hour. So friends, if you're going to be over on the Pen Addict stream in an hour, then I'll see you over there. You know, I like to lurk and have it on as well while I do other things. But thank you so much for joining me today. You know, thanks for chatting and for sharing all of, you know, your thoughts on inks, your hauls, your new pens. Super, super happy for you, friends. And yeah, if you want to take a look at Tom Studio stuff and you want to use my affiliate link, I appreciate it so much. But otherwise, you know, we'll do more art stuff. I'll be streaming next Monday, same time, same place, and probably doing more floral drawing practice or something along the lines, more creativity, creative practices and stuff like that. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your week. I'll see you over on other streams, or, you know, next week I'll be around. This weekend I'm going to Vancouver Island, so we'll be there for the weekend, and really looking forward to it because Vancouver Island is gorgeous. It's really fun to get there on the ferry and stuff and explore, maybe do some stationery shopping. I'll let you know on Monday if I do get something. But you gonna try a nap? Yeah. Oh, your dog woke you up too early. You know, so inconsiderate, so rude. I hope you do get a nap in, Bailey. And I hope Fountain Pen News, I hope your wrist feels better, and sending healing vibes to anyone who needs it, and sending good vibes for the rest of the week. Friends, take it easy, make some time to play with your stationery, you know, find your joy, be creative, do some art. But I will see you later, friends. Appreciate you so much. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and have a great week. Bye.